Okay, last problem today. So this was on the problem set. Probably have something very similar to this on your homework tonight. So here we go. It says Nell draws the array below to find the answer to 24 divided by 2. Explain Nell's strategy. So I saw a lot of people using multiplication, which is fine. However, the whole lesson was about division. So you know how to use multiplication with arrays and splitting up a larger array into other facts. We've practiced that a lot, but the whole point is to show your division knowledge since we're using this strategy also for division. So the strategy we're using is the decompose, we're breaking apart the total, and the distribute strategy. Okay, so let's take a look at Nell's array. Well, it looks like there was a total of 24 circles. And Nell divided, who is a girl, divided the array into 2. She divided it in half because supposedly if that's true, then this should be an equal amount and this should be an equal amount. So I need to, because we're using division, make 2 separate equations to represent these parts of the arrays. And they have to be division equations. Okay, so I'm going to look over here and think about what the total could be. I need to find the total since we're doing division. Well, I could count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now, technically speaking, this should be 12 here for a couple of reasons. Because I know 12 plus 12 equals 24. I also know that if this was in fact divided by 2, split in half, this and this have to be equal. But let's just count it anyway. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Indeed it is. Okay, so now I can divide both of those 12s by this number that the 24 was divided. So I'm going to give you a divided by 2. I'm going to give you a divided by 2. So then you could say something like, Nell divided the total into 2 parts. And I know that if I take the total of the first part, and that equals 12, and I also divide that by 2 because I'm distributing the 2. If I take this total, which is 12, and I divide it by 2 since I'm distributing that 2, I know that the answer to this and the answer to this should equal the answer to this. But I have to add these 2 equations up. So then you could say over here, 24 divided by 2 is the same as thinking about 12 divided by 2 plus 12 divided by 2. I know this works yet again because 12 plus 12 equals 24. So my totals equal 24. I also know that 12 can be divided by 2 because it is an even number. So then I distributed the divided by 2 to these 2 equations. Now I have to find the total of both of those equations. They should be the same because they're the same equation, 6 plus 6. Finally, 24 divided by 2 equals those 2 numbers added up, which is 12. That's the kind of work I'm looking for, not the work that uses multiplication when the entire lesson had to do with using the decompose. They say break apart, but decompose is a much better word for that. And distribute strategy. You can do the same thing with multiplication, except you wouldn't say 12 divided by 2. You would say something like 6 groups of 2. Or 2 groups of 6, depending on how you looked at it, if you looked at it as rows or as columns. But we're not doing that because we're working with division for this particular problem.